On July 29th, 1994, I arrived at JFK Airport on a visa that would expire much too quickly. 5 days prior, I had turned 7 years old, the same age at which my father had begun his daily wrestle with shame. My parents and I would spend the next 5 years in the furtive shadows of New York City, pushing past hunger pangs to labor at menial jobs, with no rights, no access to medical care, no hope of legality. The Chinese refer to being undocumented colloquially as "hey," being in the dark, being blacked out. And aptly so, because we spent those years shrouded in darkness while wrestling with hope and dignity. Memory is a fickle thing, but other than names and certain identifying details, which I have changed out of respect for others' privacy, I have endeavored to document my family's undocumented years as authentically and intimately as possible. I regret that I can do no justice to my father's childhood, for it is pockmarked by more despair than I can ever know. In some ways, this project has always been in me, but in a much larger way, I have the 2016 election to thank. I took my first laughable stab at this project during my college years, writing it as fiction, not understanding that it was impossible to find perspective on a still festering wound. After graduating from Yale Law School, where I could not have fit in less, I clerked for a federal appellate judge who instilled in me, even beyond my greatest, most idealistic hopes, an abiding faith in justice. During that clerkship year, I watched as the Obama administration talked out of both sides of its mouth, at once championing deferred action for dreamers while issuing deportations at unprecedented rates. By the time the immigration cases got to our chambers on appeal, there was often very little my judge could do. In May 2016, just shy of 8,000 days after I first landed in New York City, the only place my heart and spirit call home, I finally became a U.S. citizen. My journey to citizenship was difficult to the very end. Torrential rain accompanied me on my walk through Lower Manhattan to the federal courthouse where I was sworn in. I brought no guests, not even my parents. The rain did not matter. I reveled in joyful solitude, my face soaked in rainwater and happy tears. At the end of the ceremony, a videotaped President Obama greeted me as a fellow American. And it dawned on me that though I had become American decades ago, I had never before been recognized as one. 6 months later, I awoke to a somber and funereal New York, mourning for a nation that chose to elect a president on a platform of xenophobia and intolerance. It was then that I dug up my voice. Staring shame and self-doubt in the face, I tossed my first attempt at this project and put my fingers to the keyboard anew. I document these stories for myself and my family, and not the least my uncle, our innominate hero. I write this also for Americans and immigrants everywhere. The heartbreak of one immigrant is never that far from that of another. Most of all, though, I put these stories to paper for this country's forgotten children, past and present, who grew up cloaked in fear, desolation, and the belief that their very existence is wrong, their very being illegal. I have been unfathomably lucky. But I dream of a day when being recognized as human requires no luck, when it is a right, not a privilege. And I dream of a day when each and every one of us will have no reason to fear stepping out of the shadows. Whenever things got really bad during my family's dark years, I dreamed aloud that when I grew up, I would write our stories down so that others like us would know that they were not alone, that they could also survive. And my mother would then remind me that it was all temporary. With your writing, Qian, you can do anything. One day, you will have enough to eat. One day, you will have everything. May that resilient hope light the way. Chapter 0. Home. My oldest memories shine by incandescent light. I bury my face deep in love.